Hi, my name's Kelly, and I'm doing an intro to my glamping life. I think it's important to keep kind of records on how we're doing with our lives, and even if you don't know nobody cares, at least you can have a testimony as to what you were doing when you were doing it. You can be your own alibi. You know how folks are. So that's the way I feel. I'm really happy. I've been out for almost, what? Are you kidding me? Can you believe it? We're like we're beyond the 40-day marker. Okay. So like, that's my glamorous lifestyle. What? I know. So let me tell you my story. Cause everybody got a background story. Background, your back, your ground, what you done, and what you done did, and how you got here. So let me just keep it real. As you know, I like a lot of fairy tales, so if I do a lot of voices, that's just me. And I really feel like kind of have a good kind of time. I didn't really do it right, but one day you'll hear my Merida and you will just love me. It's easier to read Merida than it is to look at myself in the camera and actually see Merida. My blackness is throwing me off. So, but I love my blackness. Don't get me wrong. Love yourself. That's always going to be my message, is love yourself. So if you have to love yourself more, and that means leaving because things aren't working out where you are, or if you're being, you have to take care of you. Everybody talks about self-care. And I just wanted to let you know that sometimes that does mean staying. It doesn't always mean leaving. Self-care is what you care about. It's what you want. And I had a very interesting conversation because I think I was freaking out the first 40 days. And I had a very interesting conversation because I went to church. I said, you know what? This is the place I want to be. And I'm angry at God because, I've lost my house. I've lost all these things. I no longer can Marie Kondo and thank God for everything. And, I said, so I run into the church. I'm mad at everybody. I'm parking in the wrong spots. I'm angry. And you know what happened? I ran into a black woman who was praying, and I interrupted her, but she had a quiet heart. Apparently, whatever I have been through, several people have already been through. And if they haven't been through it, they at least have the wherewithal to just listen and let the person purge. And so she let me purge, and it turns out she said, what do you want? Why did you come into this church? What do you want? And, again, it caused me to kind of reevaluate like myself and stop myself from self-harming, from trying to harm other people, because I had to think about what I wanted and all the things that I've wanted. I remember talking to some guy a long time ago. I was having an interview, and he said, what do you want? Do you get everything you want? And I said, yes. Oh my God, I do get what I want. And I left out the parts where, but when I get it, it's not always what I wanted after I got it. And I also left out the part where I get everything I want after I work my tahunka off. And by the time I get it, I can tell you I'm almost exhausted and dead to get it. It would have been easier if I had not wanted and I had not asked. It would have been easier to have not been a part of it and not to think that I belonged to be a part of it. It would have been easier to just not have had the ask. So sometimes when people ask me to pray for them, I'm like, what do you want me to pray for? And I understand why people are so directed at that. Because you have to say, otherwise you're saying whatever is on that person's heart, whatever they want to ask God. But really, you want it to be within the will of God at that point, but you don't want it used against the person, because sometimes I'm still learning stuff. People have 20/20 vision when it comes to other people. Your hair is wrong, your face is wrong, you're too fat, you're too skinny, you're too this, you need to shape up, you need to become tougher, everything's wrong, your outfit, of course we're going to get mocked, you know, yeah, your car's dirty, your hair is dirty, you know, why'd you wear that? What are you doing? Why didn't you read this book? You're out of order. You can't read Harry Potter like that. And everything is 20/20 to everyone else. But when we ask, how do you think I'm doing? The 20/20 is usually about the things that they last saw you and you updated them on, but they don't have anything potentially to do with, if the person doesn't know you, they don't know your last milestone. They don't know your last update. They don't know your day in and day out. Usually family knows that. So you can count on them to pretty much clock you, see patterns. They can get certain things right. So they're not trying to be horrible to you, but when you ask them things and your breath is funky, the first thing I'm going to say is, oh, your breath is funky. Why don't you go, floss or something? Because the family is just pretty honest and blunt like that sometimes. But sometimes they aren't. And it depends. When you ask people to drop everything and talk to you, you're taking up their precious time too. And you're asking them to make time for you. So unless it's like an emergency and you're like in need, check me, you have to check yourself. So it becomes a parks and recreations. Check yourself. And also, what does that look like if you can't? So I went to the church to get checked. I said, I don't like this. I don't like who I'm becoming. I'm suspicious of everybody. I'm not fully aware of my environment, and I don't like the feedback that my internal feedback is giving me. And yet there's not a lot I can do about that internal feedback, because I feel as though there's some things I just haven't mastered yet. And most of the time when you're living with some type of a stigma or some unsettled truths or some unsettled falsehood or myths about your life, your background can haunt you. It can lead you to feel less than what you should feel. And so you have to have a lot of confidence. And so part of the process of regaining that sense of self, was to just have a lot of confidence. Like, I looked over there. I'm like looking at these two trucks help each other out. They have cones over there. And this whole time I've been saying, maybe I should ask them if I should leave. Now I'm way the hell over here. But, heck over here. So it doesn't make sense. There's a car parked way over there. There's a car parked way over there. None of them are going there, but I feel insecure here. And so it's leading me to ask. And when you do that, part of you puts yourself out there, and the answers that come back don't always come back nice. They don't always come back because you haven't breached the victory dance. These aren't your friends. These bad thoughts aren't your friends. They're not your victory. So you have to overcome kind of being in the shadow of what's happening around you and just ignore it. For lack of a better purpose, unless somebody wanted to park in this particular spot at this time, which no one is doing, that's the kind of stuff I have to make sure I'm not too in the mix of, like, you know, cautious enough, but not too paying too much attention to the external, and then bringing it in a negative way that removes me without me needing to move and be removed. So what does that look like if you're in the thick of it? And why are there reasons to move? Yes, there are reasons to move. So in my story, I had reasons to move. I had reasons for self-care, and I have even a reason to move my vehicle now, because it is there are things, and there are external things that have me concerned about my well-being and my welfare. And yet there are other things that I'm happy-go-lucky about, that I could care less about. And when it comes to those types of things, I just have to remember that I love myself. My puppy's asleep right next to me. There are two good things I just mentioned. And the air in the car, my vehicle, completely changes, because I'm no longer trying to please everything else. I am thankful because I still have my health. I have this great puppy. He's sleeping. He's been out. He's been fed. His bedding has been cleaned up. I just did the trash takeout for van dwellers. Routine and chores and and parking and checking out and exercising and all that good stuff that you do on a daily basis is amazing, because all of it's self-care. And if you don't do it, well, your windows fill up. If you can still see out the back of your window, if you can still invite somebody in your car to sit, yeah, to sit, you are 120% better than you thought you were. And it's not to compare yourself with anyone else, but I would consider that top dog, top echelon. And then the other criticality is finding stuff, right? Oh my goodness gracious me. Oh, can I just tell you, location. Even though you're glamping in your car, in stealth mode someplace, locating items is just the tip of the iceberg of glory. If you can find stuff, if you can find the items you need when you need them, you are more organized than anyone I've ever seen. Now, I had I have to be careful, because I actually had a juice box roll out of my car, and I still haven't picked it up yet. So after this, I was doing the trash on the other side, and it just rolled out. So after this, I have to remind myself to go ahead and get that little bottle. And we're gonna lose light in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to probably cut this short and keep going some other time. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna redo this video. So this is a redo.